Welcome, everyone. My name is Heather Hansen, and I am very excited to introduce Rachel Ballenstadt. We're talking about Alzheimer's and dementia, the root cause, and how we can support ourselves nutritionally. And Rachel has a wealth of information on this subject, as she does many subjects. She is a, a, a regenerative health practitioner. Yep, got it right. Okay. And a clinical iridologist. And and she's also very knowledgeable on what the medical medium shares. Who's a fan of the medical medium? Maybe you haven't heard. I love the medical medium. It helped me out tremendously with making some changes, and Rachel's helped me bring it to the next level. So without further ado, I introduce Rachel.
Thank you, Heather. I love you. Appreciate you so much. And so grateful to be here. I'm really excited about the subject. It's just so near and dear to my heart, partly because I personally struggled with brain fog so badly that I actually thought I had amnesia for moments, and I couldn't remember anything at times. There was a time I was sick for like 9 years, to be honest. I had Hashimoto's autoimmune disorder of the thyroid, which many of you heard about, and there's a whole other video on that. But one of the central features of that time was that what woke me up, like I need to get help, was because my memory was just going to the point that I couldn't retain a conversation with anyone because I couldn't remember what they were saying while they were saying it. And so I couldn't track the sentence long enough to be able to respond and even know what I was responding to if they asked me a question. Even when I would be in the middle of a sentence, I would be kind of wondering what I'm talking about as I was saying it, trying to put the pieces together, and it would be so embarrassing. I became actually I became like an introvert, and I just withdrew from society because I just didn't want to have these kinds of interactions. And so it was very embarrassing and uncomfortable and awkward. And I just also would be kind of weirded out that I was forgetting everything all the time. And one of the things that I would forget is what happened in the last half hour. And so I wouldn't even remember what I'd been doing for a half an hour or longer. And the most significant time I remember is I was one time just sitting there at the kitchen, and I was looking at this wok filled with all these beautiful vegetables and all some delicious meal that was cooking. And I thought, wow, this is so beautiful. What a great meal. And I was trying to think, let's see, who's cooking this meal? And I thought, who started this? And then I was looking around the house. I'm like, well, I'm all by myself. No one's here. But I don't remember putting these vegetables in here. And then I thought even further back, I go, I don't even remember cutting the vegetables. And I thought even further back, and I thought, I don't even remember going to the store and getting the vegetables. And I was like, how did I get to this moment right here? How did I get here? This, I can't even remember. Like, I don't even know what happened. And so then that was also coupled with another brain thing that was just weird with my brain, which is that I was getting vertigo. I was at that time also starting to experience extreme dizziness. One time so badly, I woke up, I stood up, and I couldn't even stand up straight. I literally fell and hit my head against the wall and put a hole through it. That's how bad it was getting. So everything, my whole brain was just starting to worry me. I began wondering, like, gee, do I have brain cancer? Do I have a tumor? I thought maybe I must have like some kind of tumor in my brain. And eventually I got scanned, and nope, no tumor, no, nothing like that. But I just could not figure out for the life of me. But I started thinking, wow, I must have Alzheimer's. I must have like early onset dementia. I must have something's going on. And if I don't figure this out, I'm going to end up with nothing. I'm going to be able to remember nothing. And I am going to be totally amnesiac because I wouldn't even remember people's names. I always prided myself growing up. I remembered every single person, every single face from middle school. I remembered every single person, how I met them, when I met them. I remember I had like almost a photographic memory. I could remember when I learned things, how I learned them, where I read them, which served me later once I got my memory back because it's enabled me to memorize all kinds of things nutrition related, and to be able to study many different fields of health, and to be able to retain that information, and to be able to actually be able to synthesize it and then deliver it to you guys. So my brain functions quite well, nicely, thank you very much, after finally recovering. So this call is going to be about how we can recover our brains, how we can actually prevent memory loss, brain shrinking, brain swelling, all these different factors that are related to things like viral loads, toxicity, heavy metals, all this stuff. We're going to tie it all together and put a bow on it. But one of the things I want to share with you is that as a practitioner, I've always been seeking out, well, before I was a practitioner, I was sick, and that's what made me become a practitioner, the wounded healer who's trying to always fix themselves. So I figured I went through a path of becoming an Ayurvedic practitioner. Eventually, after I did finally heal myself, I decided to study regenerative health because I really wanted to understand why what worked. And so what happened was I actually discovered this protocol that is a 90-day health transformation. It's a reset. It's a saturation of superfoods. And I partnered with a company, it's called Purium. I partnered with the company and began using this with my clients and started seeing amazing results. So not only did I completely get my brain health back, actually in a very short period of time, I would say within the first 10 days, my clarity was back. My brain was online. I was able to think really clearly. I was coherent. I was able to talk to people. I started remembering names. I remembered faces. And that whole fog lifted. Yeah, we call that brain fog a lot of times. Moms experience brain fog. I'm going to talk about why moms experience brain fog. A lot of different people have experienced brain fog. If you have, drop it in the chat. Let me see who has experienced brain fog before or is experiencing brain fog now. Let's see. Okay, Heather's experienced it. And I know Midge and Tyne who are about to share. Tyne, yes. After COVID, yes, Coco says after COVID, there's a reason why people experience brain fog after having a viral load. Deanne has in the distant past. Thank you, Melanie. Okay, thank you. So share it in the comments too, like what were the symptoms of your brain fog? What were the key elements that went along with it? And yes, Glenn says also post-COVID. So what was it like to have brain fog? I'm going to actually call forth a couple of people who I've worked with who've actually done this protocol like I have, people who are on my team who are also now sharing this protocol with others, and have them share a little bit about what it was like before and after. I'm going to go with Tyne first because Tyne is the mom, was just talking this morning about the mom brain. And so I'd love, Tyne, if you can just say hello so I can find you and spotlight you. I'm going to have you share what it was like before and Hannah, what's happening now if you're available. And if not, I'll just go to, I can go to.
Hi, sorry, I had to go get something real quick.
Sorry to get
So what was the question real quick?
So I just wanted to, I was wondering if you could just share what it was, because you were talking about mom brain in the chat this morning. Oh. And I was just wondering if you could share like, what was it like? What is it like? And kind of, you did this 90-day protocol. I don't know what day are you on? Are you like on month 2, month 3?
Yeah, I'm like a month and a half in. So
okay.
Halfway.
So, yeah, if you could share a little bit about kind of, where you were and kind of what you're experiencing now, that would be great.
Oh, okay, yeah. So before, being pregnant and having a child, I have a toddler now, he's like 2. I was really on fire. I was on the go. I was a business person. I was working in sales, and so I was just able to keep track of everything. I was really good at that, even though I had a little bit of ADHD, which I told everyone, I think some people know. I was able to kind of figure out how to manage my brain. I learned how to use my hyper focus to like get tasks done. And then when I didn't have it, I knew, okay, don't do anything then, because obviously I'm going to not get anything done. So what happened was I was just so like used to being on fire and getting things done, and just like one event to another. And I wouldn't get confused. I'd write things down. And when I got pregnant, when the hormones started kicking in, everything just went kaput. I mean, it was really kind of, I guess I would say scary, because I thought there was something seriously wrong with me. I just stopped. Like my brain just couldn't focus or function in any way that was like manageable to me. I was forgetting things. I mean, I always forgot things too because of the ADHD, like my keys. And my God, I have to put a chip on everything because I don't know where anything is. I always lose my keys and my purse and all that. That was a normal for me. But then I was doing it to the point where I was just either late for things or not even showing up anymore. And it got to the point where it was just really bad. It was really affecting my life. And I wasn't getting anything done. And then I kind of went into a little bit of depression because of that too. And I think it might have been postpartum too. So everything just was like a blur to me. There was just like, I wouldn't know what day it was half the time. I didn't know, what I was planning to do. Or if I did, I'd forget it really quick. I would walk into a room and not even know what the heck I came into that room for. And I'm like, or I'd be looking for something and all of a sudden I'm getting distracted. And some of that was the ADHD too. So I noticed that my hormones and ADHD, it was all kind of melding together and creating this really disastrous situation for me. And that's not even really why I came to the Purium. I did it for another reason, to do the cleanse, but that was one of the things I did notice right away, which you guys told me, but I was really surprised about it because I got my focus back. I mean, literally, that's what's it's amazing with me. And I'm doing this business right now, and it was, excuse me, my dog is kind of making noise. So it took me some while to. I was not doing work. I wasn't doing anything like for a whole year. I didn't feel like I was mentally there. But when I started doing this, and I was even like kind of curious, God, could I do Purium? I don't even, my sales mind, I was a really good salesperson. I'm like, I'm not there. I don't see myself doing this at all. But like within like not even a few weeks, I noticed this clarity starting to kick in. Like that was amazing. It was almost like, because when I was younger, I did have to take medication for for clarity for ADHD. So I felt like that, except I wasn't taking anything. It was just like a natural, amazing high. And it was giving me energy too. So I was getting the motivation I needed. And now I was like, wow, I'm back on track. And I did notice the difference right away. It was really pretty amazing. And I'm pretty sure it's because of the protocol and how I'm changing my diet and everything. Thank
Wow,
you.
so much. That's
Yeah.
really exciting. I'm sure that's going to be very inspiring for all the moms out there. Yeah, and also people with ADD, ADHD, and I, as people know, there's a whole talk on me doing talking about having Tourette's and being on the autistic spectrum. These are all also related to metal toxicity, and so this is one of the reasons it's important to know what kinds of nutrition are also going to help eliminate metals from the brain. So I'm going to also go over to Midge. Midge, would you speak up so I can find you?
I'm here.
Yay, Midge. Hi.
Hi.
Great. So Midge is a therapist and also just really amazing, just a wealth of information now for hold on a second. Let me just spotlight you there. Okay. Tyne, I'm going to mute there. Okay. Now I can see you. Hello.
Hello.
So share with us about your personal transformation. You've been actually using dense nutrient superfoods for a while now, and you've had your own personal story of recovering your mental health. So can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, my first experience with brain fog started when I was around 60. And it was frightening for me because around the same age, my mother experienced the same kind of brain fog, and she was then diagnosed with dementia and Alzheimer's. So what happened was in the morning, I woke up and I was making lunch to go to work, and I was experiencing numbness. And when I went to the doctors immediately, and I'm going to shorten all of that process. If anyone wants to know more about that, I will sure share that. But what happened was they did all kinds of testing on me. And the funny thing is, when you said, Rachel, that you were afraid you had a brain tumor, that is what, I thought possibly I was going down the same road as my mom, because the symptoms that I was experiencing were the same as hers. And around the same age that she began to manifest those symptoms. And then I've always thought that, I don't know, I guess that's a part of my worrying about things and anxiety, is that I have the possibility of a brain tumor. So when they did all those tests, I was like, wow, I don't have a brain tumor anyway. So there's a positive in this process. So that's when I first started, and this was in around 2004. that I started on supplements and looking at my diet and making some changes with that. So the brain fog went away. What was happening, some of the symptoms were at that time that I was doing a lot of presentations for prevention, mental health prevention, and working in the schools and all of that. And I couldn't remember. I was forgetting to look at my calendar. I was not able to remember my presentations. I would get lost in places, and so it was like, what is happening to me? The long and short of that also at the end was that I went through bringing up my adrenal system and then doing a test to see, because immediately when I went to the alternative nutritional chiropractor, he said, you're toxic on some metal. So immediately you move towards mercury because of the fillings and the age I am, and that my mouth was loaded with mercury filled fillings, and so that's what I thought it was. But what happened when they did the testing on me is I was off the charts with lead. So that was the beginning of understanding that I needed to do something different in my life. So fast forward to approximately 4 years ago, 3 years ago, probably in there, my daughter Nirancar introduced me because I was looking for a different protein shake and a different way of doing what I was doing. And she introduced me to the superfoods company that we're talking about now, that you talked about. And immediately I saw some change in my feelings of anxiety, my feelings of depression, and a whole lot of things in my life changed. And I also had a way of looking at what I was doing and a protocol that helped me stay on track. Because I can suffer from ADHD also, and go back and forth, and don't remember to do things, and blah, blah, blah. And so that gave me a protocol and a way of looking at my daily routine and what I needed to do. And so I was on Purium for a while, and then the whole COVID and all of that showed up. And it was right around Christmas, I believe it was 2019, and I couldn't remember. The brain fog started again, and it totally blew me away. It's like, what is happening? I thought I had sinus problems, and I couldn't remember. I have 4 children, and I was trying to get the packages ready for Christmas. I was trying to decorate. I couldn't do it. I absolutely could not do it. I couldn't organize the packages. I couldn't decorate. I couldn't get things out. I couldn't remember anything. I was totally, I was like, oh no, we're going to go through this again. And then realized that through several things, that I did have COVID. So I increased my protocol, and I began taking more shakes and making sure that I was right on target with all of that. And immediately the brain fog began to dissipate, and I couldn't smell anything. That went away, and I became stronger. And I was very, very, very grateful for that, that I had something in my life that I could turn to help me adjust to this. Because knowing what my options were, I wasn't going to take some of those options. I just wasn't going to do that. And so since then, I have been free of brain fog, and I have also been free of any I have been healthy in all these years and had, you know, connections with people who were not, and it didn't affect me. So I was really grateful to know what to do. And I think that sometimes is the frightening part, is not knowing where to go and not knowing what to do. But I did know that, and I knew who to turn to and to get support and a community that I could go to do that. So thanks for listening.
Thank you, Midge. I'm so glad that things have gotten better and that you're able to turn all those situations around. It's really amazing what nutrition can do. You know, they kind of tell us that, like, oh, that's it. You got this diagnosis, or you got this, you know, issue, and it's just going to be there. We'll just keep trying to give you a bunch of, we'll throw a bunch of things at it to try to suppress the symptoms, but it's not necessarily fixing everything. So I want to say hi to Aaliyah, who's also a regenerative health practitioner, has her hand raised. Love to bring you to the floor and share with us what you're experiencing. You're just brand new.
Yeah, I'm on day 10 today. I can attest to the brain fog lifting. Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Speaking, and this is a mom here.
I'm sleeping so deeply, and wow.
That's
That's all I
amazing.
can say. Wow.
And you have 2 or 3 kids? I forget.
2.
You have 2 children. They're toddlers. They're running around. I see you chasing after them all day long and having fun with them and playing with them on the calls. And
Yeah.
so this is really great because you're a regenerative health practitioner. So you understand nutrition. You've been, you know, and just like me, like I was an Ayurvedic practitioner when I came to this protocol, and I was like, how come I can't get well? I'm here treating and helping other people. What is missing? What is missing? But really, it's the nutrition that's missing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. So I'm going to go a little bit into we'll talk about the protocol, and I'll show the products and and I'll go over each one and how it helps the brain in various ways. But, you know, first of all, I just kind of want to talk about some of the things that we've been sharing here about different things that have caused people to have struggle with their memory. One of them that's interesting. So a lot of people are talking about long haul COVID now. And so people are like, what happened to me after COVID, right? So one of the things that when people have viruses is that viruses poop out neurotoxins. So when you have a viral load that's extremely high, those neurotoxins interfere with the brain, with the neurotransmitter passage in the brain. So the neurotransmitters are made of all these wonderful minerals and chemicals that are help bring the signal across. And then the other thing you need in the brain are carbs, right? So how can we help the brain? So carbs, so check this out. We associate with Alzheimer's and dementia, we associate the shrinkage of the brain. If you've ever seen the brain of someone with one of these, some kind of Alzheimer's diagnosis, you can see that the brain has shrunk, it's become deformed, and what is going on there? Why is that happening? So there's multiple factors, but one interesting factor for brain shrinkage is a lack of carbohydrates. Now, I'm talking about good, healthy carbohydrates. Okay, I'm not talking about processed foods. So vegetable carbohydrates, fruit carbohydrates. So brains will shrink if you're not getting enough carbs. This is one of the reasons why keto, paleo, things like that, where it's like heavy meat and low carb, that can be very problematic in the long run, because the brain, there's not enough room for all the carbs that you do need, right? You're filling it with the things that are doing other things in the body, but you're actually starving the brain of carbs. Moms who have who are trying to do no carbs while they're pregnant, they're like high protein, low carbs. Sometimes they'll do that because they're actually like, well, I don't want to gain a bunch of weight during pregnancy or whatever the thing is, or carbs are bad. People are like, bananas are bad, sugar is bad, potatoes are bad. And actually it can stunt the growth of the baby's brain, because the baby's brain actually is 90% of the brain is actually carbs. 10% is other things, which include omega fats, right? But we can get those from hemp seeds. We can get those from pumpkin seeds. We can get those from hemp seed or pumpkin seed oil, right? We don't need to be eating a ton of fat. This has become a wave of misinformation that has come in as a backlash to the 80s, where it was all like low fat, and then, you know, people were going vegan and vegetarian. Actually, I became vegetarian and vegan for a while there in the 80s, and then I went back to eating. I went back and forth, but I went with the fads, right? It's like, oh, all of a sudden the Atkins side, oh, you're supposed to eat tons of meat. You know, everything was constantly changing. But this influx of misinformation about the brain, oh, you need fat for the brain. Everyone thinks I need fat for the brain. The brain doesn't run on fat. What causes those neurotransmitters to move across the neurons is having the carbs there, is having the glucose, which is having the sugars, the healthy sugars, right? These sugars also help cool the brain, because when we get upset, when we get stressed, when we get heated in an argument, the brain wants to heat up. There's like this adrenaline corrosion, this excitement, or the news of like someone died or something shocking happened, or maybe you were in an accident. I witnessed a horrible, horrible accident, and that shocked me. And immediately after that, I developed horrible brain fog. And in a way you could think, well, it serves a purpose because I didn't want to remember that incident. So maybe there's something to that. But no, seriously though, what happens is when we have a shock to the system, it's like there's several things that happen. All that adrenaline is going to corrode the brain. And the adrenaline also feeds pathogens. It's like the best food for pathogens, the best food for viruses, the best food for, you know, bacteria in the body. Adrenaline also comes to the body when we eat high fats, because adrenaline is used to break down. Your body needs to produce adrenaline in order to break down those fats, because they're complex, strong molecules that are hard to break. And so your adrenaline needs to come out to like break up those bonds. So what else happens? Fat is heavy metals. So we have heavy metals in the brain, and then in the liver, get heavy metals. Where do we get heavy metals, and what do heavy metals do? So heavy metals also feed pathogens, as we know, but they also like oxidize in the brain, and then that oxidization is like rust, and those things actually contaminate and start to destroy areas of the brain where memory is held. Okay, so oxidization of metals in the brain will start to deteriorate areas where memory is held. Short-term memory versus long-term memory, different placement of metals in the brain. If the metal's over here instead of over there. Long-term memory, okay, now we're starting to like get into other areas. The metals like are placed over there. Okay, so placement of metals in the brain, kinds of metals, these determine how we are impacted. Okay. So carbs, yes, they cool the brain. Sweet potatoes and potatoes are demonized all the time. Potatoes are demonized. So we're bananas, right? Oh no, sugar, what is this going to do? Well, actually, these are really great carbs for the brain. This is actually really great fuel for the brain. These are actually wonderful fuel. Superfoods are amazing because they actually help eliminate metals. So we got carbs, you need like fruits and vegetables, you need superfoods that help eliminate metals, right? That are going to help safely carry and lift those metals out of the brain. You want to have high antioxidants. Antioxidants help neutralize everything in the brain. That they help really protect the brain from dying. Okay, so antioxidants are incredibly important for the brain. Okay, so we need the right kinds of sugar for the brain. We need the right kinds of, all those healthy carbs, which come from fruits and vegetables. Okay. We need to have spirulina, barley green juice. These things help lift heavy metals out of the brain. These are in the power shake and in the super meal shakes that are part of the 90-day protocol. This helps lift heavy metals and also helps kill viruses. Viruses live on metals. They love metals. They love metals. They love toxins. They love chemicals. Yum, yum, yum. Give me some glyphosate. Right? Glyphosate is the toxins, the herbicide in Roundup. Most of us are getting exposed to glyphosate constantly through the environment. I'm in Sonoma County where we're in the vineyards. So there's just tons of glyphosate here. Anybody who lives near a farm, if it's not organic, even if there's an organic farm nearby, likely there's also tons of non-organic farm nearby. You're getting that drift of glyphosate. It's in the air, it's sprayed on the parks, which also destroys the gut. That's why the biomedic is so important, which is in the protocol. That helps remove glyphosate. It's the only product clinically proven to remove glyphosate. That biomedic is important for lifting the glyphosate out of the gut and restoring the gut as well, because the gut is where we receive our nutrients, right? And also helping remove toxins from the liver. Because the liver is important and it performs thousands of functions for the entire body. So if your mom, make sure that you are getting lots of carbs for the healthy growth of your baby's brain. Eat lots of fruit, have tons of bananas and potatoes and sweet potatoes and get all that good stuff in there. And make sure you can also be having spirulina and barley green teas. These are also safe for moms, for pregnant mamas, okay? What else? So brain swelling. So we just talked to kind of like about brain shrinking, right? Coming from like the corrosion of the brain, it starts to like destroy. So we get brain shrinking from not having enough carbs, not having enough healthy like fruits and vegetable carbs. We also get brain shrinking from like having toxic metal heavy runoff that goes in and destroys those little parts of the brain for where there's memory. It might go into the brain where there's short-term memory. It might go into the brain where there's long-term memory. And then we have brain swelling. It's like mild encephalitis. And this also happens from viruses. Okay, so like the viral loads, Lyme and ALS, these are basically names for diagnoses that are related to viral loads in the body, which affect the brain. Again, those viruses, any kind of virus, Epstein-Barr virus is really the one that I was the most dealt with, because that was the responsible for Hashimoto's, which is what I had. I don't have it anymore. I don't have Hashimoto's anymore, by the way. They told me I couldn't do anything about it except just take some medication, but I just knew. I held out. I said, I believe that there's a way. I believe there's a natural way. I believe there's a natural way, until I found how to change my diet. And I found also the superfoods protocol, and I found out how to tackle it from different areas, killing the virus and starving the virus. Okay, literally. So yeah, the nervous system gets inflamed from these neurotoxins, which heavy metals feed. And one of the things that's really great is zinc removes hard copper. So zinc is also part of the plus immune pack, the protocol, which I'll show you guys today. So zinc is really important for also reducing copper. Now, some people are afraid, like, I need copper, oh my God. So let's just get one thing straight. I want to set the record straight. There's hard copper and there's mineral copper. There's good copper and there's bad copper. We have this other problem, which is people are starting to use copper vessels. It's become all the rage. When I was in Ayurveda school, I started seeing it. Oh my gosh, I have like my cool fashionable copper cup, whatever it is, my cup, my vase, my water jug, everything is like made out of copper these days. I'm telling you, that's hard copper. That is going to contribute to the problem. That is hard metal. That is a heavy metal that's toxic. Okay. Natural mineral copper is good for you. You don't need a lot of it. It's plentiful. You don't need to drink from a vessel. In fact, you don't want to drink from a copper vessel. But you do want to have zinc. Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, different kinds of metals, mercury, lead. Midge said that she turned out that, you know, she got tested and she had a lead toxicity. I also had a lead toxicity. I also was tested for lead, and I had high lead and I had high fluorine, which isn't necessarily a metal. But mercury, lead, arsenic, copper, we're loaded with these things in the brain. And eczema is also an expression of copper toxicity. Lead, eczema, and psoriasis is a result of copper toxicity. Okay, so especially zinc, good for helping reduce that as well. So we have the zinc aid, ADE, zinc, Z-I-N-C, capital C for stands for vitamin C, and then the A, vitamin D, and vitamin E. So that's really going to be helpful. Oh gosh, some people like to eat brain. Why do people love to eat brain? Because it's sweet and tastes like dessert because it is made of carbs. But you don't need to eat brain. Okay, that's not necessary. In fact, it's not going to translate in the same way. All right. But you have all these different conductors: potassium, magnesium, sodium chloride. These are the minerals that become neurotransmitters. So this is another reason why it's so important to have your superfoods. You need to be having like a natural source of all these different minerals. Okay. And yeah, these mineral chemicals like sit on the neurons, right? This is what transmits the information. It's the neurotransmitters. They transmit the information through the neuron of the brain, through the neurons of the brain. And so heavy metals interfere with that passage. I gave a description, and I think in the talk that I did on autism, about how metals are kind of like a freight train. Like you're going on down a highway, and then all of a sudden the signs come down, ding, 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 and then the metals are like, just imagine the big metal freight train, right? That's exactly what it's like in your brain. It's like ding, 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 and then all of a sudden the signal can't get across because there's all this corrosion, this like basically this obstacle, this obstruction of metal in the road, right? Now that transmitter can't function there. So now, and then it starts to even deteriorate the road. So it's really important to lift heavy metals: spirulina, seaweed, all sea vegetables. There's dulse in the super meal. There's dulse in the super meal, which is one of the shakes. Dulse is a seaweed, and all sea vegetables reduce radiation. They lift heavy metals. They're incredibly, incredibly wonderful superfoods. Eat lots of nori wraps. Make nori wraps with the nori sushi. Except you know, you don't want to. If you're somebody who eats fish, you definitely want to avoid all fish except for salmon, halibut, and haddock. I think are like the safest in terms. But pretty much all fish now has heavy metals, and it's nearly impossible. And not only that, yeah, raw fish has parasites. So you run into two problems. But so it's even worse when you have like an alloy, like a combination of metals. You have like mercury, cadmium, lead, aluminum. You have like mercury and aluminum. Like these things are going to retain heat in the brain. So you especially need those carbs. We talked about this last week, how those carbs are kind of like they keep like that highway cool. They're just like right there, you know, helping bring those neurotransmitters across the neuron. That's why those carbs are so important. They are actually functional, and they help with, so the neurotransmitters are the minerals, and then the carbs are what actually fuel the signal. They give the energy to like move that signal across. So this is why this protocol is so helpful and important, because it provides you with tons and tons of fruit nutrients, all that like natural glycose from the apothecary juice. All that apothecary juice is so wonderful as it brings that signal across the brain and helps clean off the neurotransmitter sites. Okay. Gotta also detox MSG, glutamate, aspartame. These things are incredibly damaging for the brain. Aspartame is in gum. A lot of people have like Trident and whatever, like all these sugar-free gums and like sugar-free diet sodas. Oh my gosh, do yourself a favor. Don't do that. Just remove sodas. And if you're going to do any gum, I always recommend spry gum or something that's made with xylitol. Okay, sweetened with xylitol. Xylitol is actually even good for teeth. So yeah, carbs help with stopping the adrenaline from dissolving our brains. And so what's really interesting as part of the protocol is that we recommend a diet along with these superfoods. We say eat lots of apples, eat tons of cucumbers, eat tons of blueberries. In fact, I will go and say eat wild blueberries, because wild blueberries have even more phytonutrients because they're blue all the way through the whole berry. You can get them frozen. You can buy them in the frozen section at health food stores. But wild blueberries, these are also part of the dietary protocol that goes along with the superfoods. Yeah, when you're stressed, you know, we talk about when we're stressed eating, those of us who are like, oh my God, I'm so stressed, I need to keep eating. Well, yeah, you know why? Because that stress is causing this adrenaline dump in your brain. And so you need those carbs. You actually need that. You need that sugar, that healthy glycogen. You need that glycogen, which assimilates so easily through the mouth. You need that to cool off your brain. so you can think, so you can function. That's why we're all like, I'm hungry, I'm stress eating. Oh my God, I gained 10 pounds from stress eating. Well, you need the right kind of sugar. It doesn't mean you want the candy bar when you're stressed. It means go for a banana, go for some fruit, go for a shake. All right. You want to get these healthy carbs. So protein does not keep the brain strong or healthy. Yes, we get proteins, we get aminos through different things and they have a function, but the brain again is made of carbs. It's not made of fat, it's not made of protein, it's made of carbs, okay, and minerals. Other things, we do have a heavy metal detox protocol that includes like making smoothies that have cilantro and seaweed in it, or like dulse. So there are some, and some of the purium supplements like the fulvic zeolite, which helps chelate metals, and ionic elements, which is the minerals for the brain. So ionic elements is crucial for people who are suffering from dementia. You want to make sure that they have their ionic elements. Okay, these are trace minerals. This is so important for the brain function, for sleep, for energy, okay, for your body to be able to think properly. Got to have these trace minerals. Oranges are also a high source of calcium for the brain and nervous system. Calcium is sort of like is part of like the neurotransmitter chemicals, but our body actually makes calcium. We don't need to be taking a bunch of calcium pills. We don't need to be drinking. Dairy actually depletes calcium from our body because dairy is acidic. And so then our body needs to actually, unless we're a kid and we have lactase up until age 2, but dairy is acidic. And then our body has to actually pull calcium from the body in order to, we have to pull calcium from the body because calcium is alkaline. And then that's going to help protect the blood from acidity because we need to be pH balance of 7.4, excuse me, 7.4. So yeah, the flex foods that we recommend when you're on this protocol: apples, cucumbers, spinach, lots of leafy greens, got to get those minerals, got to get those healthy carbs. Butterleaf lettuce has some omega oils in it. Artichokes are great for cleaning the liver. While blueberries, like I said, you can have like hemp seeds and pumpkin seeds for your omegas. You don't need to be going and taking a bunch of fish oils. In fact, fish oils all have metals in them. And even if they extract the metals from the fish oils, it leaves such a small amount, it becomes like a homeopathic dose of metal. So don't be doing fish oils. Get your omegas from natural oils, from hemp seed or from pumpkin seeds, or you can take some hemp seed oil or borage oil or primrose oil, or the zinc aid, which has vitamin E in it. The coconut is great. That knocks down viral loads and that also cleans the liver. Aloe vera is great for cleaning the gut and cleaning the brain. We have Aloe Digest, which is really wonderful in our product suite. I mentioned sea vegetables. And then I'm going to talk about the banana really quick, okay? Because banana is something that we definitely recommend throughout the whole 90 days. We don't during the 10-day cleanse, which is like in the middle of the first 30 and the second 30. That 10-day cleanse, you're not going to eat bananas, but for the lifestyle in general, yes, bananas are great. They're the only thing that kills the HIV retrovirus that's been proven in clinical studies in a lab. They put it in a petri dish, and it was the only thing of all the things that they threw at it. Bananas actually were the only thing that killed the HIV retrovirus. So remember, this is a healthy carb, okay? All right, I'm going to show you guys the protocol. Enough of me talking. Let me show you this protocol that I've been describing. I'm going to actually also talk a little bit about iron toxicity. So again, we talked about there's different kinds of iron, all right? And so a lot of people use iron skillets, cast iron skillets, and I don't recommend this. This ends up being rusty iron. This ends up being the kind of iron that's not good for your brain. And so a lot of us know, like, okay, I shouldn't use, most of us are aware that we shouldn't use, what are those, non-stick Teflon, right? It's like, oh my God, mercury, aluminum, yay. Aluminum, yay, stay away from aluminum. We got to stay away from, yes, we want to stay from aluminum, but we also want to stay away from cast iron. So what do we do? There's not a lot of options because cookware is not tested. But I will say, you know, I will talk about cookware at the end, but there are studies that show that higher levels of iron accelerate Alzheimer's disease, and then deficiency of the right kind of iron can also lead to dementia. So we'll talk about how to get iron, the right kind of iron, through the ultimate lifestyle transformation. This is the protocol that I adopted that helped me totally transform my health and my life. This is a 90-day protocol. It says you get to choose your path. I am recommending today the ULT Immune Pack, which has an additional add-on. This has the zinc aid that has the zinc that helps reduce copper and the wrong kind of hard copper, and then has vitamin C, A, D, and E. So it says A, D, and E right here. Zinc with a capital C stands for vitamin C, and then A, D, and E. It's not ascorbic acid. We don't believe in using ascorbic acid at all. This is all organic. This whole protocol is completely organic. This is sustainable, recyclable, because compostable materials that the bags are in. This is compostable. And these plastic bottles will eventually be replaced. Right now they're in plastic still, but we are committed to going plastic free. You will get a 25% off discount code from whoever invited you or shared this with you. But I'm just going to kind of go into this pack real quick. So this is the apothecary juice, which is a huge antioxidant, right? Really important for brain health. Not only that, it's a fruit. It's tart cherry, right? So this is like we've just been talking about glycose, how you need to have the right kind of glycogen for the brain. This is the best thing for your brain. This is total brain food right here. Okay, it's going to help cool the brain when you're stressed, and it's going to help bring those neurotransmitters across the neuron, and it's just going to do wonderful things. We've got these power shakes. These have barley green juice in them. They've got spirulina in them. We were talking about that early. Spirulina helps eliminate metals. It also is full of nutrients, full of vitamins and minerals. I mean, spirulina is considered a superfood, which means a whole food. And a whole food is a food that has all the different vitamins and minerals in it, right? It's got like a whole complex of different nutrients in there. And so it's considered a whole food because it has everything. It's the whole thing. So spirulina is one of the prime ingredients in the power shake, and also the super meal, which is you can choose your shakes. All right. You can also choose a dark berry shake. The dark berry shake also has tons and tons of different fruits, right? Which again, we're like looking for healthy carbs for the brain. But this is helpful for eliminating metals, as well as it gives you tons of nutrients. It also kills viral loads. With the barley green juice is something that also helps, kill viruses. I'm not saying that this is like a cure for viruses, but I'm just saying this can help you if you're sick, you want to get better fast, you have long haul COVID, you got to up your nutrients. Okay. You got to like start working on that. We've also have the Biomedic, and the Biomedic is amazing right here. This is actually a probiotic that removes glyphosate. Okay. Probiotic, prebiotic plus biotic. This removes glyphosate from the gut, and glyphosate destroys the gut. Glyphosate literally destroys the gut. It removes it kills all the healthy bacteria in your gut, and it makes it hard for your body to absorb nutrients. It's kind of like hammers down the villi, which absorb nutrients. So Biomedic does the opposite. It actually kind of like rose up the villi, the little hairs that actually absorb nutrients, and it replenishes healthy bacteria in the gut, and it kills and it removes glyphosate. Quite literally, actually, it's been clinically proven to remove 74.5% of glyphosate in 6 weeks by the detoxproject.org. The detoxproject.org is a nonprofit organization that actually has given us a gold seal of approval for being the only product proven clinically to remove glyphosate. So this is very important. And then the super aminos, super aminos, this is plant-based super aminos. This is actually made from non-soy legumes. This actually helps with all different kinds of functions of the brain. It's got L-lysine and all these different, it's got like 8 different amino complexes that are the amino acids that actually help with different things, but it's a precursor to serotonin that helps the body feel happy. So it can be like a real mood enhancer right here. And then also it just gives you like wonderful, wonderful energy. And then it has L-lysine, which also kills the strep bacteria, strep virus. So this is really wonderful. The super cleanser herbs you only take for 10 days. So this is basically 2 shakes a day. You're going to take all your supplements twice a day, and you have your meals. These are replacement meals. You can have those twice a day, and then you can have a nice clean green meal with your family at night if you like. You're going to have these super cleanser herbs, which sweep the colon out, all right, and kill parasites and just help with elimination of all the different bacteria you don't want in your body. Okay, so this is only without the zinc aid, it's $12 a day. With the zinc aid, it's $13 a day. Okay, so for $6.50 twice a day, you get your meal plus all of your supplements twice a day. So for me, it saved me about $300. For a lot of people, it saves them money. So that's one of the reasons. If you're thinking like, I don't know if I can do this, literally, this can save you money. It can save you time in the kitchen. It takes a minute just to make your shake. And it's very filling and very satisfying and very delicious. You've got appleberry flavor, there's vanilla chai, there's a bunch of different things you can choose from. There's also the dark berry. Okay, the dark berry is delicious as well. Okay, so what does this cost? The retail value is $530, but whoever invited you is going to give you their gift code, so that's 25% off, or 25% off. So it's $397. Okay, so this is basically $133 off right here with that discount code. And again, it's just $13 a day. If you are on a budget, you can do the ULT, which is $360. Okay, that's $12 a day. So it's only $35 more for this immune pack. Just so you know, you click get started today, and then you can customize your order right here underneath month 1 today. Underneath where it says month 1, right underneath this is this little link here. Would you like to customize this? I like to click that, and then you can change out the shakes. I recommend getting one of everything. Try it all. You know, try everything. You can get even the dark berry protein. Okay, so I recommend not doing more than one dark berry. I like people to primarily have the power shake and the super meal. And then you can do the same thing for month 2. The price goes down to $378 the second month. And then the 4th month is just the continuation. This is basically your maintenance pack. Once you feel amazing like Midge did and Tyne does, chances are you're going to be like, I do not want that to all go away, because, you know, we don't want to revert back to old habits. It's important to be cleansing and detoxing the brain every single day. And so this is just once a day. This is basically, you know, $7 for a meal plus all of your supplements once a day. You take your apothecary juice at night. It helps with deep sleep and deep rest, and it detoxes the brain. So like that, we'll open up to questions and answers. And also, I just wanted to say that we are always looking for more health coaches. So if you're somebody who's looking for a way to earn some extra income, or you're looking for an exit strategy for your job, and you'd like to join our team of coaches and learn and get educated, and also just help other people and transform like Midge, myself, and Tyne did, we would love to welcome you in. So just let the person know who invited you if that interests you. But for now, are there any other people who want to share a story of transforming their brain fog, mental health? Because if not, we'll just go into questions and answers. And I'll go ahead and turn the recording off. And you can have this replay. You can share this with whoever you'd like. But I'll turn the recording off, so if anyone has private questions, you can go ahead and ask them. So thank you for coming. And if anyone needs to go, I understand. Feel free to leave. But if you want to stay, this is also a support group. So when you do the protocol, you have weekly support. And so you can ask questions about your experience here. A lot of the people on this call are actually on the protocol and may have questions. So you're always welcome to the support calls. We have a support group, and we also have cooking classes. So you can also learn from the cooking classes. All right, here we go.